When I came home from my business trip, I found my daughter acting strange. When I pressed her, she said, "Dad, I hate the pills Mom gives me. They make me feel so weird." Pills, what pills? My wife never mentioned any medication. I searched the house and found an unlabeled bottle hidden in the kitchen cabinet. Just white tablets with vitamins written in my wife's handwriting. The next morning, I took Sophie to the hospital for tests. When the doctor called me into her office and showed me the results, what she said made my blood run cold. "I'm so grateful you're here listening to this. What I'm about to tell you changed everything. But first, let me know where you're watching from and what time is it where you are. Knowing you're here gives me strength to continue." I pulled into the driveway at 6:30, the October sky already dark over Evanston, 52 years old, and every day felt a little heavier. I grabbed my briefcase and headed inside. The house was too quiet. "Sophie, I'm home, sweetheart." No answer. I found her in the kitchen, sitting at the table with her math homework spread out. But she wasn't working, just staring her small hands flat on the paper shoulders slumped. "Hey, kiddo, how was school?" "Fine," she mumbled. That's all I'd gotten for 2 weeks. My chatty, bright-eyed 10-year-old had turned into a ghost. Dark circles under her eyes, pale skin. She'd been falling asleep on the couch after school sometimes for hours. When she woke up, she looked confused, like she didn't know where she was. I'd asked Audrey about it. She'd shrugged. "She's growing, Harrison. Kids get tired." But this wasn't normal. I turned on the stove and pulled chicken from the fridge. "Want to help me with dinner?" Sophie shook her head. "I'm not hungry." The silence stretched between us wrong and heavy. I turned off the burner and sat next to her. "Sophie, talk to me. What's going on?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Sweetheart, what is it?" She bit her lip, chin trembling. Then so quietly I almost didn't hear, "Dad, can I stop taking the pills Mom gives me?" Everything stopped. "What pills?" "The vitamins." She wiped her eyes. "Mom said they're vitamins. She's only given them to me a few times, but Dad, every time I take one I get so sleepy, like I can't keep my eyes open. And then I sleep for hours. When I wake up, my head feels fuzzy and weird." My heart pounded. "When did this start?" "2 weeks ago, maybe the first time was on a Saturday when you went to the office. Mom said it would help me focus better. But after I took it, I just crashed. I slept until dinner." Audrey never mentioned vitamins. Never told me she was giving Sophie anything. "How many times has she given them to you?" Sophie counted on her fingers. "4, I think. Maybe 5. Not every day, just sometimes. When she's home and you're not." A cold weight settled in my chest. "Sophie, can you show me the bottle?" She nodded and disappeared upstairs. I sat there, hands clenched, trying to keep my breathing steady. Sophie came back holding a small plastic bottle. She placed it in my hand carefully, like it might explode. I stared at it. No label, no brand name. Just plain white plastic with a piece of masking tape stuck to the side. Written in Audrey's neat handwriting, "Vitamins." I opened it. Small white tablets, round, unmarked. My throat went dry. "Dad," Sophie's voice cracked. "Am I in trouble?" "No." I forced a smile, even though my hands were shaking. "No, baby. You did exactly the right thing telling me." I pulled her into a hug and she wrapped her arms around my neck tight. But inside, one thought kept screaming louder and louder. "What the hell is Audrey doing to our daughter?" I didn't sleep that night. The pill bottle sat on the kitchen counter, a small white cylinder that seemed to glow in the darkness. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Sophie's pale face. "Every time I take one, I get so sleepy, Dad." At 3 a.m. I gave up, made coffee I didn't drink, stared at that bottle. Audrey came home around 10, breezing in with her laptop bag. "Sorry I'm late. Client presentation ran over." She kissed my cheek, went upstairs to check on Sophie. I said nothing, just watched her move through the house like everything was normal. But nothing was normal. At 6 a.m., the moment Northwestern Memorial's appointment line opened, I called. "I need to bring my daughter in today. It's urgent." "What's the nature of the emergency?" "I think she's been given something, a drug. I need her tested." They fit us in at 8:30. I woke Sophie gently. She blinked up at me, confused. "Dad, it's so early." "I know, sweetheart. We need to see a doctor this morning." Fear flashed across her face. "Am I in trouble?" I sat on her bed, smoothing her hair. "No, baby. I need to make sure you're safe. Get dressed, okay?" Audrey was in the shower. I left a note taking Sophie to doctor's appointment. Explain later. I didn't trust myself to say more. Northwestern Memorial was 15 minutes away. Sophie sat quietly, clutching her backpack. I wanted to tell her everything would be okay, but I didn't know if that was true. Dr. Monica Foster met us in the pediatric wing, a woman in her 40s, with sharp eyes and gray hair pulled back. She shook my hand firmly. Mr. Cole, what's going on? I explained as calmly as I could. Sophie had been exhausted for 2 weeks, sleeping for hours. My wife had given her pills, supposedly vitamins, but they made Sophie extremely drowsy. Dr. Foster's expression darkened. How many times? 4 or 5, Sophie whispered. Over 2 weeks. Do you have the bottle? I handed it to her. She examined it, jaw tightening. This isn't labeled. We need a toxicology screen immediately. They took Sophie to the lab. I watched through the window as a nurse drew blood from her small arm. Sophie was brave. She didn't cry, just looked away. 45 minutes. I sat in that waiting room watching the clock. Each minute felt like an hour. I texted Audrey at Northwestern with Sophie. Don't worry, we'll call soon. She responded immediately. What happened? Is she okay? I didn't answer. Finally, Dr. Foster emerged holding a printout. Her face was grim. Mr. Cole, your daughter has diphenhydramine in her system. High levels. It's an antihistamine found in adult sleep aids. In children, especially at these doses, it causes severe drowsiness, confusion, and with repeated use... She paused. Cognitive damage. Possibly permanent. The room tilted. What? Someone has been giving your daughter adult-strength sedatives. Dr. Foster's voice was controlled, careful. Where did she get these pills? My throat was so dry I could barely speak. From her mother. Dr. Foster went very still. Her pen stopped moving on the chart. She looked up at me and I saw something shift in her expression. Professional concern hardening into something else. Alarm. Maybe even anger. Mr. Cole, she said quietly, we need to talk about next steps. I drove home in silence. Sophie slept in the back seat, exhausted from the blood draw. I kept glancing at her in the rearview mirror, her small body curled against the door, breathing deep and steady. Cognitive damage, possibly permanent. Dr. Foster's words echoed relentlessly, and beneath them one question clawed at me. Why would Audrey do this? I tightened my grip on the steering wheel. I needed answers, but more than that, I needed to protect Sophie. Whatever was happening, my daughter couldn't be caught in it anymore. I pulled into a Best Buy parking lot. Sophie stirred as I shut off the engine. Dad, where are we? Just need to grab something, sweetheart. Be right back. Inside, fluorescent lights buzzed. A young employee with a tag reading Tyler approached. Can I help you find something, sir? Security cameras, I said. Something discreet. For home monitoring. Tyler nodded and guided me to a display. He pointed to a device disguised as a phone charger. Popular model. Plugs into any outlet. Live streams to an app. Clear audio 1080p video. You can access it anywhere. I'll take it. 20 minutes later, I parked outside a small Oak Park house. Judith's place. Audrey's mother. A neat bungalow with flower boxes under the windows. She opened the door, smiling. Harrison and my sweet Sophie. What a lovely surprise. Hi, Judith. I forced a smile. I hate to ask last minute, but Audrey and I are doing some repairs this weekend. Lots of dust and noise. Could Sophie stay with you a few days? Judith brightened. Of course we'll bake cookies. Watch movies. Sophie looked up confused. Why can't I stay home, Dad? I knelt to meet her eyes. I need to fix some things, honey. You'll have more fun here with Grandma. Trust me, okay? She nodded, though uncertain. Judith took her hand. Come on, sweetheart. Let's get you settled. I watched them disappear indoors, something twisting painfully inside me. I was lying to everyone, Judith, Sophie. But what choice did I have? The house felt different when I walked in. Empty. Cold. I stood in the living room, taking in the gray sectional. The coffee table where Sophie did homework. The framed photos our wedding, her first birthday, the Michigan trip. 12 years of marriage, 10 years raising a daughter. Had it all been a lie? I forced myself to focus. I unplugged the lamp beside the sofa and replaced it with the camera charger. It blended perfectly, just another block and an outlet. I angled it to capture the sofa and front hallway. Then I opened the app on my phone. The live stream flickered on clear, picture-crisp audio. I heard the fridge humming. I walked across the room, testing the frame. The camera caught everything. Perfect, I muttered. Back in the driveway, I sat in my car staring at the house. For 12 years, I'd called it home. The place where we built our life, where we raised our daughter. Now it felt like a stranger's house. My phone buzzed. Audrey. Honey, leaving work early today. Want me to pick up dinner? I stared at the message. My thumb hovered heavy. Finally, I typed, sure, that'd be great. Her reply came instantly. Perfect. See you soon. Love you. Love you too. I hit send and felt sick. I looked back at the house at the window near the hidden camera. Let's see what you do when I'm not here, Audrey. Monday morning, 7:15. I kissed Audrey goodbye at the door, my briefcase in hand, car keys jingling. She smiled up at me, still in her bathrobe. Have a good day, honey. You too. You're working from home today. Yeah, I've got that presentation to finish. She squeezed my hand. Love you. Love you too. The lie tasted like ash. I pulled out of the driveway and drove 2 blocks before turning into a coffee shop parking lot. Found a spot in the back corner where I had a clear view but couldn't be seen from the street. The camera was in place. I'd set everything up Friday night. I opened the app on my phone. The screen flickered, then resolved into a live feed of our living room. Empty. The gray couch. The coffee table. The front door at the edge of the frame. I waited. At 8:30, Audrey appeared on screen. She'd changed out of her bathrobe. Now she wore dark jeans and a fitted sweater, her hair styled, makeup done. Not the clothes you wear to work alone at home. She sat on the couch with her laptop and coffee, scrolling through her phone, smiling at something, typing. My chest tightened. The morning crawled by. I watched her work, make calls, laugh at something on her screen. At 10:30, she got up and disappeared, probably to the kitchen. Came back with a glass of water. Normal. Everything looked so normal. Then at 11:45, the doorbell rang. I sat up straight, my heart suddenly pounding. Audrey jumped up from the couch, checked her reflection in the hallway mirror, smoothing her hair. Then she opened the front door. A man stepped inside. Tall, mid-30s, dark hair, good-looking, wearing a leather jacket and jeans. I zoomed in on my phone screen, my hands shaking. Gavin Pierce. The name hit me like a punch. I remembered him now. Audrey had introduced us at her company holiday party 6 months ago. This is Gavin, one of our new associates. He's brilliant. She'd been glowing when she said it. I'd shaken his hand, smiled, made small talk about the Bears game. Now I watched him step into my house. Watched Audrey close the door behind him. Watched her lean in and hug him, not a colleague hug. Not a friendly hug, an intimate hug. My vision blurred at the edges. They moved to the couch. Audrey disappeared off screen, came back with 2 glasses and a bottle of wine. Wine. At noon on a Monday. She poured. They clinked glasses. Laughed about something I couldn't hear clearly through the audio. Gavin said something, gestured with his hands. Audrey threw her head back, laughing. He reached out, put his hand on her knee. Left it there. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles went white. Then Gavin leaned in and kissed her. For a second, one horrible frozen second, I thought she'd push him away. Thought there'd been some mistake, some misunderstanding. But she didn't push him away. She kissed him back. Her hand came up to his face. His arms wrapped around her. They melted into each other like they'd done this 1,000 times before. I couldn't breathe. 12 years. 12 years of marriage. 10 years raising Sophie together. Late nights when she was a baby, walking the floors, singing lullabies. Family vacations. Christmas mornings. The way Audrey used to look at me across the dinner table and smile like I was her whole world. All of it was a lie. I tapped the screen. The feed went black. I couldn't watch anymore. I leaned my head against the steering wheel, gulping air like a drowning man. My hands were shaking so badly I had to clench them into fists. On the passenger seat, my wedding ring, 12 years on my finger, suddenly felt like it weighed 100 pounds. The next 3 days were a blur. I went through the motions, work, home, sleep, smiled at colleagues, answered emails, pretended everything was fine, but inside I was breaking apart. I couldn't unsee what I'd watched. Every time I looked at Audrey across the dinner table when she bothered to come home, I saw her in Gavin's arms, heard her laugh, saw the way she'd kissed him back. I watched the camera feed every day. Gavin came back Wednesday, then Friday, same routine. Wine, laughter, touching. I saved everything. Uploaded the videos to an encrypted USB drive, backed them up to the cloud, evidence. Cold digital proof of what my marriage had become. Thursday night, Audrey texted she had a team dinner. Wouldn't be home until late. I stood alone in our house, my house now in my mind, and opened the filing cabinet in the study. Bank statements, 6 months' worth. I spread them across the desk and started going through them line by line. Our joint account. The one we'd opened 12 years ago, the week after our wedding. And there it was. A pattern I'd been too trusting to notice. Cash withdrawals. $500, $700, $1,000. Week after week after week. Always on days Audrey said she was working late or meeting clients. I added them up. Over $20,000 in 6 months. Gone. My hands shook as I kept digging. Hotel receipts. The Langham Chicago, a boutique hotel downtown. $400 a night, multiple stays. Restaurant receipts. Alinea, Girl and the Goat. Places I'd always wanted to take Audrey for our anniversary, but she'd said were too expensive. Apparently not too expensive for Gavin. And then I found it, tucked in an envelope at the bottom of the drawer. A receipt from Tiffany's. $2,500 for a sterling silver pendant necklace. I'd never seen Audrey wear it, because she hadn't bought it for herself. I sat there for a long time staring at that receipt. $2,500 of our money. Money we'd been saving. Money that was supposed to go towards Sophie's college fund. She'd spent it on jewelry for her lover. That weekend I called a divorce attorney. Janet Pierce's office was downtown in one of those glass towers that reflected the Chicago skyline. Monday afternoon, I rode the elevator to the 32nd floor. She met me in a conference room, a woman in her 50s with short silver hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. All business. Mr. Colt, tell me everything. So I did. The pills. Dr. Foster's diagnosis. The affair. The money. I showed her the videos, the bank statements, the receipts. Showed her the lab results proving Audrey had been drugging our daughter. Janet watched it all without expression. When I finished, she sat back in her chair. Mr. Cole, you have an airtight case. Full custody. Favorable asset division. Everything will lean in your favor. What do I need to do? Sign the petition. We'll file immediately. She slid a stack of papers across the table. I stared at them. My marriage reduced to legal documents. 12 years ending with my signature. My hand shook as I picked up the pen. When do you want to serve her the papers? Janet asked. I looked out the window at the city below. Chicago stretched out in every direction, a place full of people, living their normal lives, unaware that mine had just imploded. Not yet, I said quietly. I want her to see who she really is first. I want her mother to know what she's done to Sophie. Janet nodded slowly. A confrontation, risky but effective. I need her to face it, all of it. Then we'll wait, but when you're ready, call me. We move fast. I signed the papers and started planning. Wednesday afternoon, a week later, I picked up my phone and dialed a number I knew by heart. Hi, Judith, it's Harrison. Harrison. What a nice surprise. How are you, dear? I forced my voice steady. I'm good. Listen, Sophie really misses you. She was asking about you this morning. Could you come over this afternoon around 2? I'll pick you up. There was a pause. Of course I'd love to see her. Is everything all right? Everything will be fine, I said. I'll explain later. You're worrying me? I know. I'm sorry. I'll be there at 1:30. That morning, I'd driven Sophie to school like always. When we pulled up to the drop-off circle, I reached over and hugged her tightly. Dad, her voice was small against my shoulder. Are you okay? You look sad. I forced a smile. I'm okay, sweetheart. Daddy just has something important to handle today. Is it about Mom's pills? My chest tightened. Yeah, baby. I'm making sure you're safe. I love you so much. I know. She hugged me again. I love you too. I watched her run toward the building, ponytail swinging. She turned to wave before disappearing inside. I sat gripping the wheel, telling myself I'm doing this for you, to protect you. I called Audrey next. Hey, honey, I have to meet an important client in Oak Park this afternoon. I'll be back late. Oh, okay, she said, sounding pleased. Take your time. I'm working from home today anyway. Great. See you tonight. I hung up before she could add anything else. At 1:30, I reached Judith's house. She was waiting on the porch in a soft blue cardigan, carrying a tin. I baked chocolate chip cookies for Sophie, she said as she settled in. The ones with the big chunks. She'll be happy, I said. We drove in silence for a while. Judith kept glancing at me. Harrison, you're worrying me. You seem tense. What's going on? Where's Sophie? I thought she wanted to see me. She does. She's at school. You'll see soon. I'm sorry. Sorry for what? I didn't answer. At 1:55, we turned onto my street. I pulled into the driveway and cut the engine. Judith stared at the house, puzzled. Harrison, what? I turned to her, voice low. I need you to stay calm. What you're about to see will be difficult, but I need you to witness it. I need you to see the truth. Her face drained of color. The truth about what you're scaring me. Where's Sophie? She's safe. I made sure she wouldn't be here. I didn't want her to see this. See what? Come with me. We stepped out of the car. My heart pounded so loudly it drowned everything else. No turning back. I unlocked the front door quietly. Judith whispered my name, but I signaled for silence. We stepped inside. There on the gray sectional, Audrey had insisted on buying 2 years earlier. Audrey was in Gavin's arms. His lips on hers, her hands in his hair, their bodies pressed together. Wine glasses on the table, her shoes on the floor, his jacket thrown over a chair. Behind me, Judith gasped, hand flying to her mouth. Audrey? Audrey's head snapped toward the door. Her face went white. She shoved Gavin away, scrambling to pull her shirt straight. Harrison, Mom! Gavin stood, panic flooding his face. Mr. Cole, this isn't what it looks like. Get out of my house. My voice was ice. Now! Look, I can explain. I took a step toward him. I said, get out. He grabbed his jacket from the chair, fumbling for his keys. Didn't even look at Audrey. Just ran for the door and was gone. The front door slammed shut behind him. Silence. Behind me, Judith was shaking. Tears streamed down her face. She pressed her hand to her mouth, staring at her daughter. Audrey, her voice broke. My daughter. How could you... Mom, please. Audrey's voice cracked. Let me explain. Explain. I cut her off. Explain what, Audrey? That you've been having an affair, that you've been bringing him into our home. How did you... She stopped, realization dawning. Have you been spying on me? I pulled out my phone, opened the camera app, hit play on one of the saved videos. Audrey and Gavin, on this couch, 3 days ago. Wine, laughter, his hands on her. Her face drained of all color. I know everything, I said, my voice steady, controlled. The sedatives, Gavin, the hotels, the money, all of it. Harrison, I've been protecting our daughter. I stepped closer. You've been drugging Sophie. Judith gasped. What Sophie? You drugged my granddaughter. Audrey turned to her mother, tears spilling. I just gave her some sleep aids so she could rest. Rest. I couldn't keep the anger out of my voice now. Or so she wouldn't wake up while you were with him. It was just a few times. Dr. Foster said those pills could cause permanent brain damage, Audrey. Permanent. She sank onto the couch, sobbing. I didn't know. I thought they were harmless. Harrison, please. Judith's voice cut through like a knife. Audrey, what did I teach you? Her words trembled with pain and rage. You put your own daughter at risk. For this, Audrey reached toward her mother. Mom, Judith stepped back, shaking her head. No, don't touch me. I straightened. I filed for divorce, Audrey. My lawyer will be in touch. And I'm getting full custody of Sophie. Her eyes went wide with fear. You can't take her from me. Watch me. My voice was flat. Final. You drugged her. You endangered her health. No judge will let you near Sophie after they see this evidence. Audrey looked at her mother desperately. Mom, please, tell him. But Judith's face had hardened. When she spoke, her voice was cold, distant. I'm ashamed of you, Audrey. Mamu, I thought I raised a better person than this. Judith's hands clenched into fists at her sides. I'll testify for Harrison in court. Sophie deserves better than you. The words landed like a physical blow. Audrey crumpled, burying her face in her hands. I touched Judith's elbow gently. Let's go. As we turned toward the door, Audrey's voice rose behind us, desperate and broken. Harrison, please. We can fix this. I'll end it with Gavin. I'll do anything. I stopped, turned back one last time. She looked small sitting there, mascara running, hair disheveled. The woman I'd loved for 12 years reduced to this. You made your choice, Audrey, I said quietly. Now live with it. I closed the door. Inside, I heard her collapse. The sound of sobbing raw and desperate. Outside, Judith leaned against the car, crying silently. I opened the passenger door for her. She got in without a word. I slid into the driver's seat, started the engine. Neither of us spoke. I pulled out of the driveway, drove past the house we'd bought together, past the mailbox with our names on it, past the neighborhood where we'd raised Sophie, past the life I'd thought I had. Judith cried quietly beside me. I kept my eyes on the road. I'd done what I had to do. For Sophie. Sus. 2 months later. Cook County Courthouse Family Court Division. December morning, cold and gray outside. I sat at the table with Janet Pierce. Audrey sat across the aisle with her attorney, a tired-looking man who barely spoke. She looked different, thinner, hair down and unstyled, dark circles under her eyes. She wouldn't look at me. Judge William Hartley, 60s silver hair, stern face, reviewed the case file. The courtroom was quiet except for the rustle of papers. This is a dissolution of marriage hearing, he said. Mr. Cole is petitioning for full custody of the minor child, Sophie Cole, age 10. Janet stood, presented the evidence methodically. The videos. Dr. Foster's lab results showing diphenhydramine in Sophie's system. Bank statements showing Audrey's withdrawals and expenditures. Then Judith took the stand. She looked older than she had 2 months ago, tired, but her voice was steady. My daughter endangered my granddaughter, she said, looking straight at the judge. I support Mr. Cole's petition for full custody. Audrey's attorney didn't cross-examine. What could he say? Audrey sat with her head down, crying silently. Judge Hartley spoke without emotion. The marriage is dissolved. Mr. Cole is awarded full physical and legal custody of Sophie Cole. Ms. Audrey Cole may visit once monthly supervised. Assets will be divided equally. Ms. Cole will compensate Mr. Cole $17,000 for dissipation of marital funds. He banged the gavel. It was over. I signed the papers outside the courtroom. My hand didn't shake this time. Janet squeezed my shoulder. You did the right thing, Harrison. I nodded. Didn't feel like celebrating. A week later, a realtor walked through the Evanston house. She took photos measurements. Listed it for $425,000. It sold in 3 days. I didn't feel sad packing up, just tired. Too many ghosts in these rooms. I found a 2-bedroom apartment in Lincoln Park. 8th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. Light flooded every room. $2,200 a month, manageable after the house sale. Sophie helped me paint her new bedroom pale blue. We hung her drawings on the walls, set up her desk by the window. Moving day. I carried the last box inside and set it down. Sophie stood in the living room, turning in a slow circle, taking it all in. Dad, she looked up at me. Is this our new home? I knelt beside her eye level. Yes, sweetheart. Our fresh start. Just you and me? She wrapped her arms around my neck, holding tight. I like it here, she whispered. I feel safe. My chest tightened. I pulled her close eyes, stinging. You'll always be safe with me, Sophie. Always. She didn't let go for a long time. Neither did I. 6 months later. April in Chicago. Spring had finally arrived. The trees along our street in Lincoln Park were budding green, and the air had that soft warmth that made you forget winter ever existed. Sophie and I walked home from her school backpack, bouncing on her shoulders. She was talking about her art project, something about watercolors and the skyline, and I listened, soaking in every word. My daughter was 11 now, 6th grade. Her face had color again, her eyes were bright. She laughed easily. She was healing. We'd been in the Lincoln Park apartment for 6 months, and it finally felt like home. Not the house in Evanston, that place was gone, sold, erased. This was ours, just the two of us. Small, simple, safe. Sophie's grades were strong. She'd joined the art club at school and made 2 new friends, Maya and Chloe, who came over sometimes to draw and giggle about things I didn't understand. I didn't mind. I loved hearing her laugh. I hadn't dated anyone, hadn't even thought about it. My life was Sophie. That was enough. Judith visited twice a week. She'd bring groceries, cook dinner, and sit with Sophie while I worked late. She'd apologized to me more times than I could count for not seeing what Audrey had become, for not protecting Sophie sooner. I told her it wasn't her fault. She was here now. That was what mattered. Audrey came once a month. Court-ordered supervised visits at a community center downtown. Sophie went. She sat across from her mother for an hour, polite but distant. She answered questions. She didn't smile. When I picked her up afterward, she never wanted to talk about it. I didn't push. One Saturday afternoon in mid-April, Sophie and I went for a walk along the lakefront. The water was calm, the sun warm on our faces. Families were out, kids on bikes, couples holding hands, dogs running loose. We sat on a bench near the pier, watching the boats drift by. Dad, Sophie said quietly. Yes, sweetheart? She hesitated. Do you think it's okay that I don't miss her? I turned to look at her. Her face was serious, uncertain. Your mom? She nodded. I know I'm supposed to, but I don't. Is that bad? I took a slow breath, choosing my words carefully. Sophie, what your mom did was wrong. She hurt you. And it's okay to feel however you feel about that. You don't owe her forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe not ever. That's your choice. But she's still my mom. She is. And maybe someday you'll feel differently. Maybe you won't. Either way, I'll be here. You don't have to carry that weight alone. She leaned her head against my shoulder. We sat there for a long time, watching the water. I'm happy here, Dad, she said softly. With you and Grandma Judith, I feel safe. I wrapped my arm around her, my throat tight. That's all I ever wanted for you, kiddo, to feel safe. By the time we got home, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the apartment. Judith had left a pot of soup on the stove and a note on the counter. Dinner's ready. Love you both. Grandma J. Sophie smiled when she read it. She set the table without me asking. We ate together, the 3 of us, me, Sophie, and Judith's soup. The window was open, letting in the cool spring breeze. The city hummed outside, alive and moving, but inside it was quiet, peaceful. Sophie did her homework at the kitchen table. I sat across from her, sketching designs for a new project. She looked up occasionally, catching my eye, smiling, and I realized something. We'd made it, through the darkness, through the pain, through everything. We were okay. Later that night, after Sophie had gone to bed, I stood by her doorway and watched her sleep. Her breathing was steady, her face relaxed. No nightmares, no fear, just peace. I thought about everything we'd been through, the lies, the betrayal, the fight to protect her, the long road to this moment. And I thought about the future, the two of us, building something new, something real. I closed her door gently and walked back to the living room. The city lights twinkled outside the window. Somewhere out there, life kept moving. But here in this apartment, in this moment, everything was exactly as it should be. Sophie was safe. She was happy. And so was I. Looking back now, I realize how close I came to losing everything that mattered. If I'd ignored Sophie's words that night, if I'd convinced myself Audrey would never hurt our daughter, if I'd stayed silent out of fear or denial, I don't know where we'd be today. This true story taught me something I'll carry forever. Trust your instincts. When something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't wait for proof to protect the people you love. Act, investigate. Fight for them even when it's terrifying. I've been collecting grandpa stories from other fathers, men who wished they'd seen the signs sooner, who shared their own true story moments with me. I'm sharing these grandpa stories because I don't want you to wait, like I almost did. This true story isn't just mine anymore. It belongs to every parent who's ever felt that gut-wrenching doubt. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't let loyalty blind you to danger. Your child's safety comes first, always. There were nights I prayed asking God for strength, for clarity, for the courage to do what was right. I believe He guided me to see the truth when I needed it most. Faith doesn't mean trusting people blindly. Sometimes it means having the courage to confront ugly truths. These grandpa stories and true story experiences are meant to be shared so others learn. So please, if this resonated with you, leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another true story from this channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. You're not alone. Harrison,